Hi, the following tutorial is to demonstrate the BMC G3 series devices. So I'll run through the physical attributes of the device, the humidifier settings, all that sort of thing, as well as the patient settings and the clinical settings of the device and how to access those. First of all, I want to go through the humidifier with you. So the humidifier in the G3, you're able to actually fill at the machine just by lifting up the top there. So you've got the heater plate at the bottom there. You can pour, maximum fill line is up to this point here, and you can fill that, close it, and away you go. If you want to take the humidifier off and take it to the tap, you can press one hand on the device side, one hand on the humidifier, press down firmly, and that'll pop right off. So the heater plate on the G3 series device is spring loaded. So that just comes down there, and then you're able to take the humidifier chamber, take it to the tap, and then I'll clean it if you wish, or fill it up and take it back to the device, and that just again firmly clicks down. So behind the humidifier chamber in here is the SD card for the device. So that's hidden behind this bit of plastic here. That just pops in and out, so that it's hidden and the patient's not going to accidentally lose it. So it clicks on there. On the back of the device, you've got the filter. So the G3 series device comes standard with this small filter. So this one you take out, clean on a regular basis, make sure there's no debris building up, pop that back in the holder, and that just clicks straight back on the back of the device. Now that'll come standard with the device when you first get it out of the box. You also have the option of this filter. So this is a PM 2.5 fine particle filter. So this will filter out dust, bushfire, smoke, other allergens as well, for patients that are more sensitive to those sort of things. And that just clicks onto the back of the device in the same spot. So then you can pop this in the bag. And then this part here is rated to last for 6 months. This doesn't require any cleaning. So this part here, you just replace this after 6 months. So those are the two options for the filters. So both of them come standard with the device. You'll find them in the bag. Something there. So all BMC G3 series devices come standard with a heated tube. So this heated tube plugs into the back of the device like so. And then this part here has its own port, which plugs in just there. So now when that's plugged in, the device automatically picks it up and realizes that the heated tube is attached. If the patient, for whatever reason, doesn't want the heated tube on a particular night, all they have to do is unplug that, and then it's a regular tube that won't heat up, or they can change the device in the settings to turn that off manually. So that's that heated tube just there. So I'll get this out of the way for cleanliness. So also on the device, next to the heated tube where that plugs in, you have the option of an SpO2 oximetry sensor. So the majority of this sensor, all of the electronics are actually inbuilt into the device already. So that makes this really an affordable option. This just plugs in next to that like so. And then once the finger sensor is attached to the patient and the device is turned on, it will automatically start recording the patient's SpO2 readings, and that will generate as part of the report as well. So that's the SpO2 sensor. And then of course you've got the power point here on the back. So coming around to the front of the device, other features, you've got the start-stop button. Of course the device has the option of auto on, auto off, but if you want to manually turn the device on or off, that's the button there. That's what that does. Two other buttons on the front. You've got the home button here, and then the navigational knob here. So one acts as a forward, so press the navigational knob to go forward in a menu, scroll left or right to navigate, press the home button to go back, so it'll take you back to the previous screen. Press it twice, it'll take you back to the home screen. So those are the physical features of the device. So the G3 series comes in a fixed pressure device, automatic pressure device, so 4 to 20 centimeters, and of course there's a range of bi-level devices, including an ASV and a lab device at the higher end. The automatic series devices, G3 series, are available in black shell or white shell. All other devices are available in just the black shell. So white shell in automatic if you'd prefer that. They're identical in terms of features, settings. It's purely aesthetic choice. If the patient has white bed sheets, white curtains or wallpaper, then the white option may be a nicer, aesthetically appealing choice to that patient. So now I'd like to get into the settings of the device. So getting into the settings of the device, the screen goes completely dark if you're not using it. If you've got the screensaver on, you just turn the knob once left or right, and then you'll bring up this screensaver option, which will show you the time, the humidifier settings, and the heater tube if you've got that attached. One more twist to clockwise, and it gets you into the home screen of the menu. So this is the home screen. This is what the patient can access, and I'll just go through the settings on here now. So the first thing you see on this home screen is a preheating option for the humidifier. So when the preheating is on, if I just turn that on, that'll start counting down from half an hour. The humidifier will heat up. So if the patient wants to go have a shower, get ready for bed, they just turn that humidifier on. It preheats before therapy, and so the water is already warm once they jump into bed. So we can stop that. So that's how you turn it off. The next thing on this home screen is the accessories. So in here, you've got a reminder period. So how long you've been using each of these accessories for. So the consumables, the air filter, the heated tubing, and then the mask. So you can change these periods of time as well in the patient's settings menu. But basically at the end of 180 days here, 29 of which have been used, you'll get an alert that it's time to change the air filter. It's a good reminder for the patients so they don't forget to do that regularly. So like I said, home button is back. So press the home button and that'll take you back to the home screen. The mask is the next option. So in the mask settings, you've got the ability to choose the type of mask that the patient is using, whether it's a full face, nasal, or nasal pillows mask, or other mask like a sleep with a soft cloth mask, for example. So you just select the option you want there, pillows, and then you can do a mask fitting test straight away as well. So that'll ramp up to 10 centimeters. You're able to test that there are no leaks occurring with that mask and the patient is comfortable using this. So that's the sort of feature you would use when you've got a patient that's come in for a CPAP trial. They're trying out masks and they're getting used to it. So that's the mask fitting test. Reporting options I'll get into in a different video, but basically in the reporting options here, you've got, you can get a usage summary on the screen of the device, which will show you those different periods of time of use with all of the key functions, like key statistics, I should say, of the device, such as the P95 value, the AHI, but I'll get more into that in a different video. The settings option here. So this settings option is for the patient's settings. So in here, you've got access to change the humidifier, the heated tubing. So it's unconnected at the moment. So demonstrating connecting the heated tubing. So once this part is plugged into the back of the device, it's automatically picked up by the device, and then the heated tubing can be adjusted manually. So 1 being the coolest setting, 5 being the warmest setting on the heated tubing. Of course, you can switch that off there, or unplugging it, as I said previously, will make that a non-heated tube if it's attached. In the humidifier, again, 1 is the coolest temperature, 5 is the warmest temperature. So with the humidifier, you've also got the option of switching that off or putting it on to automatic. Now, when you put the humidifier onto automatic, it will also make the heated tubing automatic. So the device has the ability to detect the ambient temperature of the room and the relative humidity and can adjust for that automatically. Ramp time here. Now, this is where you set the patient's ramp time. You can set that up to wherever it's set in the clinical settings menu. You can't set past that time, so the patient won't be able to set past 30 minutes if it's set at 30 minutes in the clinicians menu. Or you can put the ramp time on automatic. Now, when ramp time is set to automatic, what the device is able to do is it can detect when that patient falls asleep. So the breathing pattern will regulate and then the device will start ramping from the initial pressure once it detects sleep, or if it starts detecting events like hypotonias and apneas, the pressure will begin increasing from there. Accessories reminders, this is where you can change those different periods for the filter, the tubing, or the mask. So changing the filter from 180 days to 365 days, for example. Delay function here, this is a drying function for the tube. So if delay was on, at the end of therapy, when the patient takes off their mask or hits the stop button, the pressure on the device will ramp down really gently. It's about 2 centimeters, just to blow any excess moisture out of the tube so that it dries out. And next time the patient picks up their mask, they don't get any condensation in the mask or the tube. So that's a good option there if you've got quite a humid environment. Screen brightness, of course. Now this is the screensavers. This is that keeps flashing up, so I might switch that off for now because it's a bit distracting. But if that's on, it will bring up that clock. You've also got the option of having the screensaver on or off during operation of the device. So when the patient's using the device and they turn the navigational wheel once, it'll bring up that time, so the patient can see what time it is in the middle of the night if they wish to. Now, auto light, backlight for the device. Wi-Fi here is an option that we'll be introducing shortly. It won't be standard across all of the devices. It will be mainly for demonstration rental devices, so you'll be able to access the device remotely, change the settings remotely through a portal, an online portal. But that's something I'll get into in another video specifically about that portal and accessing the device remotely. Date and time settings, of course, formatting, all those sort of things. Language, there's a number of different languages in here. Spanish, Mandarin, of course. So if the patient requires a specific language on the device, we can load that onto the SD card, and that will be available as an option for the patient in the device. Usage time, and then about. So that's the patient's menu, patient settings menu. Accessing the clinical menu requires you to navigate over to the settings function and hold the home button and the navigational wheel together for about 5 seconds. So pressing them in, and there you go. So in the clinical settings menu, it's been divided into 3 different options: therapy, comfort, and maintenance. So in therapy here, you've got the option of selecting between auto PAP and fixed pressure modes. And of course, you've got in automatic an initial pressure, then the minimum setting and the maximum setting for the pressure. And you've got now in the G3 series device an intelligent option for both fixed pressure and automatic pressure. So the intelligent setting, it depends on whether it's a fixed pressure device or an automatic device on the settings, but I'll go through the fixed pressure option in the smart setting first of all. So we'll change over to fixed pressure. So Smart C, what Smart C is able to do is when that's switched on, the device looks at the previous 5 nights of therapy and it looks at the patient's AHI over that time. So the device is trying to keep the AHI within 5 events per hour. Now, if Smart C is on and the mean AHI over the previous 5 nights is above 5 events per hour, what the device will do is automatically increase the pressure by 1 centimeter above the treatment pressure to optimize for that patient. So in the event that the patient's had a lifestyle change, they've put on some extra weight, or perhaps they've started drinking more frequently, they are going to require a higher pressure to eliminate those events. So after 5 nights, if the mean AHI is above 5 events per hour, the device will increase the pressure automatically 1 centimeter to compensate for those extra events. It will then look for an additional 5 nights, and if it detects that the mean AHI within that time is below 3 events per hour, it will bring the pressure back down 1 centimeter to set it back to the original treatment pressure. So that's on the smart fixed pressure settings. Now going into automatic, auto CPAP, you have Smart A. So the Smart Automatic feature looks at the patient's P95 value, so the pressure that 95% of events are eliminated within. So over the previous 5 nights, for example, the P95 value is 9 centimeters. You've got a minimum APAP of 7, a maximum APAP of 13, and say a ramp time of 15 minutes. So in that initial ramp time, if Smart A is on and the P95 value is 9, the device will ramp from 4 centimeters, the initial pressure, to 9 centimeters, the P95 value, over 15 minutes to optimize therapy for that patient at the beginning of their therapy. Now, of course, the device can reduce the pressure back down to 7 centimeters, which is the minimum. But basically, it's optimizing the therapy at the beginning of the night for that patient. So for patients that have early onset events, a pressure of 9 centimeters being their P95 value is going to better eliminate those events at the beginning of therapy, so they don't have to spend so much time ramping up to that particular pressure. The next option here is sensitivity. So this is actually my favorite function on the device, because you're able to alter the algorithm, the sensitivity of the algorithm to the events that are occurring and the frequency of titration. So sensitivity of 1 is the lowest sensitivity, and sensitivity of 5 is the highest sensitivity. Now, at a sensitivity of 1, the device is detecting all events. It's detecting snoring, apneas, hypotneas, RERAs, any obstructive events, but it will not titrate for those snoring events or those mild respiratory events to allow the patient, if they're more sensitive to the titration, to get into a deeper stage of sleep. Now, the AHI will still come down, the device will still increase pressure for that patient, but the frequency of titrations is, the intervals between titration is longer than if it was set at a higher sensitivity. So a sensitivity of 4, for example, the device will be much more sensitive to those events, the snoring, the hypotneas, the apneas, and the intervals between titration events will be shorter. So the pressure will increase faster at a higher sensitivity. So for a sensitivity of 5 being the highest, the device will be quite efficacious in its titration and bring that AHI down as quickly as possible for that patient, depending if they can tolerate that sort of increases in pressure. But the device comes as standard set on a sensitivity of 4, and the majority of patients can handle a sensitivity of 4. Leak alert is another function here that comes off as standard, but if you're worried about leaks, you can switch that on. Getting into the comfort settings of the device now. So you've got the maximum ramp time in here, up to an hour. Reslex is the expiratory pressure relief function, so level 1, 2, or 3. You can also put that in the patient's menu if you want to give the patient access to the Reslex settings, or you can switch that off, of course. Auto start, auto stop. 1 to 2 breaths. If auto on is on, the device will start the pressure, and about 3 or 4 seconds, the device will cut off if auto off is on, for example. And then the other option up here is maintenance. So back end of the device, you can look at the total runtime, restore default settings of the device, and also erase data. So you would use this in between patients who are on trials of the G3 series device. To get back to home, press home twice, and you get back into this settings here. So now you can see your current settings of the device, Reslex time here. Now I'm going to turn the device on. So now you can see here the pressure, the flow, any leakage that's occurring, and then the total ramp time. So that is the settings of the BMC G3 series device.